4 की तरफ से आप सबको नमस्ते, सबका स्वागत। आज के 10वें अध्याय के कार्यक्रम में हम लोग आज का कार्यक्रम रोज की तरह मेडिटेशन से शुरू करेंगे। तैयार हैं आप लोग? Ram, he will join.
Yeah, I'm here. Go ahead.
सुप्रभात सभी को। हम सबकी जिंदगी में एक ना एक सिचुएशन ऐसी जरूर होती है जिसके साथ में एसोसिएटेड कुछ सिम्टम्स होते हैं। दे कैन बी फियर, एंगर, हर्ट, resentment, sadness. So through this guided meditation today, we will bring that particular situation to our mind's eye and release the associated negative emotions with it. We take a deep breath in and release. One more deep breath in and out. I sit in a comfortable position and close my eyes if I wish. My hands are open, palms towards the heaven, arms slightly bent, open in a receiving position. I relax the muscles around my eyes and behind my eyes. I now focus on my breathing, the inhale and the exhale. I watch the rhythmic flow of my breath as it flows in and out, in and out. I take another long, slow, deep breath in, hold it for a moment, and then slowly exhale. With every inhalation, the tension in various parts of my body is slowly getting released, and I gradually relax more and more deeply with each breath. I now bring my awareness to the top of my head and feel a wave of relaxation originating at the top of my head, which is now flowing down to my forehead, which is relaxed. I take another long, slow, deep breath in, hold it, and then exhale, emptying my lungs completely with the out breath. I am now drifting into a state of deep relaxation, and I continue to breathe slowly and gently. Relaxation now flows down my cheeks, my jaws soften. If I find my jaws tensed, I open my mouth a little to let go of all the tension. Now this peaceful feeling flows down my neck, and deep into the muscles in my shoulders, going down into my arms, relaxing and soothing all the way down to my fingertips. As the body relaxes, my mind relaxes, thoughts become less frequent. This peaceful sensation flows down my chest. I watch this area gently rise and fall as I breathe, slowly and deeply, soothing and relaxing. I now turn my attention to my back and feel this relaxing sensation flow all the way down my spine, right to the base of my back. Flowing forward, this relaxes my sacred zone, hips and thighs. All the muscles in these parts of the body are becoming loose and relaxed. As it flows down my knees and calves, I relax more. I let my ankles relax and I completely relax my feet on the ground. I now bring my attention on the center of my chest and visualize a white light touching the center of my chest and go within. This white light illuminates my inside. I see what I see and I feel what I feel. I understand surrender is the key to ascending and truly transforming my life. Surrender in each moment that passes helps me to live a life full of rich moments. As a human, I experience a range of emotions from love to fear and everything in between. Fear feels like a ball and a chain that prevents me from moving forward with my life. It closes down my heart and slows my evolution. As I sit focused on my breath, I sense pain and trauma in my heart that needs to be released and healed. I now focus on a situation that has caused trauma to me, something that I wish was different but is not. I take a few quick breaths in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. I breathe in the universal source energy. I breathe out all tension and stress. I now bring to my mind the situation which I wish to change, but I cannot. I feel all the different aspects to it. I feel the fear connected to it. I feel the frustration. I feel the anger. I feel the sadness. I now go back to the fear surrounding the situation and bring up all the fearful thoughts and emotions. Repeat with me silently. I let go of the fear surrounding what I cannot change. I release these fears one at a time, once and for all. I surrender and accept what is. I let go of the fears surrounding what I cannot change. I release these fears one at a time, once and for all. I surrender and accept what is. I bring my hands to the center of my chest and say, as I release my fears, my soul sheds a tear. A new day is born as I am reborn. My heart be in peace as I heal and release. May love and compassion grow, for I am more loved than I may know. I now bring up all the frustration. I feel the frustration fully in the center of my being. I say, I let go of all my frustration. I surrender and accept what is. I let go of all my frustrations. I surrender and accept what is. I continue to breathe in and out, in and out. Now I bring up all the anger, the dark fury raging inside of me. I watch it as it rises within, feeling it fully. I clench my fist. Breathing out, I open my fists and release the anger inside of me. I keep clenching and unclenching my fists at my own rhythm, and I say, I let go, I release, I accept, I surrender to that which I cannot change. I let go, I release, I accept, I let go, I release, I accept, I surrender to that which I cannot change. I relax. It is time now for me to work on the sadness that I feel. I say to myself, I feel sad, but I'm okay. Letting go gives me strength. Acceptance gives me power over my emotions. Surrender gives me the freedom. Freedom from the past. Freedom from the things I cannot change. Freedom from fear. Freedom from frustration. Freedom from anger. Freedom from sadness. I surrender, knowing that acceptance does not make me weak. It makes me strong because I let go of attachment to things I cannot change. I know that surrender is the only way to be free from all negativity that surround this situation in my life. I surrender knowing that whatever is meant to be. For the next few moments, I will see the situation and myself in a bubble of healing golden light. This light now changes to the golden pink of love. The color now changes to green, the color that heals. I see myself being blessed by the Creator, letting go of images, if any. I rub my palms, put them on my eyes, and open at the count of 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming back to the here and now. Welcome back.
Whew, Swati, so many emotions all together. So many.
Let go of each one of them. Surrendering at the feet of the divine.
Ram, please unmute yourself.
Thank you, Swati, for that lovely journey.
Thank you, Ram.
Shubhodaya, good morning, namaskara. Welcome back, everybody. This is chapter 10, which is the Vibhuta Vistara Yoga. And today's chapter is going to be a very interesting chapter in the sense that all of us are going to be transported into the divine manifestations of Krishna. So it's a very, very interesting chapter. It's a very significant chapter because it teaches us a lot about Krishna, about the inner Krishna within each one of us, and how we can make sure that we can bring and manifest that Krishna within us to the world. So let's begin with a prayer. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Please bless us in this endeavor to learn. So Krishna continues where he left off in the last chapter. If you recall, in the last chapter, he talked about the power of faith. He talked about the power of bhakti. He also talked about focus. He talked about devotion. He talked about abhyasa. And he said you must do all of this with vairagya. So the last chapter, chapter number 9, was entirely about this whole concept of faith and devotion of bhakti, and said, how can you practice this on a daily basis? And if you were to practice this bhakti, if you were to practice this on a daily basis, then obviously you are going to be benefiting a lot more from this whole process. And therefore he continues his explanation. He picks up this chapter and he continues his explanation to Arjuna. And there is a very interesting part of this whole process. If you recall, in the last chapter, he said, I'm going to explain the royal secret to you because you're free from envy, you're free from any envy, and you're free from any doubt. This chapter, he starts by saying that, look, I'm going to explain something because I'm interested in your well-being. And here is another very interesting nugget into the Bhagavad Gita. Whenever Krishna begins the entire chapter, he starts changing because he is also noticing that there is a change that is now happening in Arjuna. It is not the old belligerent Arjuna that sat and said, I will not fight. You can do what you want, Krishna, but I'm not going to fight. And there is a change that he is perceiving. Yesterday also we explored how Arjuna is changing. And I think this is something that all of us also would be experiencing on a day-to-day basis, saying there is something which is changing. So now he is saying that, look, I'm going to explain something to you because I'm concerned about your welfare, because I want you to do well in your entire life. So there is a change. So finally, Arjuna is now free of doubt, and Krishna is saying that since I'm concerned about you, Arjuna, I am now going to be sharing something with you, which is a very, very interesting way to look at life, okay, and to look at divinity. So you're going to get this happening right now. So Srini, can we pick up chapter number 1, chapter number 10, verse number 1, please?
अथ दशमोऽध्यायः श्रीभगवानुवाच भूय एव महाबाहो शृणु मे परमं वचः यत्तेऽहं प्रीयमाणाय वक्ष्यामि हितकाम्यया।
Right?
भगवान बोले, फिर से मेरी परम बात को सुन अर्जुन। मुझसे अपार स्नेह रखने वाले, तुझसे तेरे हित की कामना के लिए मैं फिर से कहता हूं।
So at some point of time, what I'm also going to do is something interesting. Throughout Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna and Krishna keep addressing each other in different ways. Not just a straight Arjuna, sometimes he calls him Kaunteya, sometimes he calls him Parth, sometimes he calls him, now he's calling him, O mighty armed one. Because I'm concerned about, and therefore there is a deep meaning also to that, because every time that he is addressing Arjuna in a different way, he is actually talking about different aspects of us, because when he is speaking to Arjuna, he is speaking to us. So he continues to explain, and he says, look, I'm going to explain this again. Listen to me again. I'm going to explain this all over again to you, because I'm interested in your well-being. And I am going to share something with you, and you listen to me with absolute rapt attention. I want you to pay attention to what I'm going to be saying, because this is something which is very, very important. He goes on to tell Arjuna a couple of more things. He says, look, I am the cause, and hence even the gods and the sages don't know where I have originated in my life. Okay, I am all over, Arjuna. Don't even attempt to try and figure out what I'm doing, because it's very difficult. Even the gods, the sages find it very difficult to find out where I've come from, what is my origin. And this timeless quality of the Lord is being explained to all of us, that He's eternal. His message is very clear that wherever I am, I'm everlasting. And then he goes on to, he says that, look, recognize that I am completely birthless. I am beginless. Because this manifestation of mine, this supreme Lord that I am, this supreme inner self that is there, it is very difficult for us to find out where I am from. I am beginless, I am formless. Accept this. Okay? Don't question this, and just accept and move on from here, Arjuna, because now Arjuna is completely ready. And he says, because I'm concerned about your welfare, I'm sharing this thought with you. Arjuna, accept the fact that I am formless and I am somebody who's completely timeless. So I think it's very important for us to remember this at this point of time. That, the glorious inner self within us, the Godhood within each of us, something which is imperishable. And this is an important aspect, and it is up to us to start believing in this. So by now, we must develop that faith that there is this beautiful inner self that is there in each one of us. And it is this Godhood which is timeless, which is beginless. Arjuna is being now told, and through Arjuna, we are being told that, look, start accepting this fact. Don't resist this anymore. Just accept that within you, you have such a wonderful person waiting to express yourself, to express herself. So we move on to verse number 4 and 5, in which Krishna explains this even more intimately to Arjuna.
बुद्धिर्ज्ञानमसम्मोहः क्षमा सत्यं दमः शमः सुखं दुःखं भवो भावः भयं च भयमेव च
बुद्धि ज्ञान अमोह क्षमा सत्य.
Just 1 minute, Anurag. Go ahead, Srini. You'll have to place verse 5 also, please.
अहिंसा समता तुष्टिः तपोदानं यशो यशः भवन्ति भावा भूतानां मत्त एव पृथग्विधाः.
Yes, Anurag, go ahead.
बुद्धि ज्ञान असमोह क्षमा सत्य दम शम सुख दुख भव अभाव भय अभय अहिंसा समता तुष्टि तप दान यश और अपयश. प्राणियों के ये अनेक प्रकार के और अलग अलग भाव मेरे से ही होते हैं.
Fantastic. Just hold the slide, Srini. So look at what he is telling us. He is now revealing to us. If you recall, he told us what are the good attributes of a person. He is now firmly moving into the attitudes. And he says, look, these are the attitudes that are born out of the Lord. These are not attitudes, so these are attitudes that we can cultivate. These are the attitudes in human beings like us in which we've got. So what is he saying? He starts off with buddhi. Buddhi is nothing but intelligence, the power of discrimination. How can you actually discriminate and how can you find out what is right and what is not right? Just give me. I'm sorry. So, he's talking of buddhi, intelligence, the power of discrimination. Then he goes on to talk about knowledge, okay, and wisdom, which is jnanam. He says, look, knowledge and wisdom come from me. Not being ignorant, asammoha, okay, that is not being ignorant. He says, sama sukham dukham, which is being equal in happiness and sadness. Bhavo bhavyo, which means the process of generation and dissolution. Abhayam, which is fear and fearlessness. Ahimsa, which is non-violence. Samata, which is equanimity. Tushti, which is contentment. Austerity, tapas. Dhanam, which is charity. And yasho, yashaha, which is fame and ill fame. So he says, look, all these qualities that in a human being are actually me. Now, these attitudes are already there in each one of us. So whenever you have these 15 things in play, remember, these are things that you are born. Okay, in many ways, okay, you can also call this Vidata Likit, which is this is there within you. You have it within you because these are the things. When he says that, look, I am residing in you. So we are born with these attitudes. But somewhere, if you recall, he also mentions in an earlier chapter saying that, look, just as mirror is covered with dust, just as a smoke covers fire, unfortunately, some of these attitudes that are there within each one of us have been clouded. So it is our duty right now to figure out how are we going to bring these out? What are we going to do with these 15 attitudes? Each one of these 15, ladies and gentlemen, is there within us. We don't have to go out to search for them. So the power of knowledge, the wisdom, not being ignorant, forgiveness, truthfulness, self-control, important parts of our life. Today, we are not having those. If today those are not manifesting themselves, primarily because of the fact that somewhere we have not given permission for them to come to the surface and express themselves. So it is all there within us. We don't have to go about searching it anywhere. And he says something very interesting. He says, look, get one thing clear. Every great person that was born, and this is verse 6 and 7, he goes on to say, every great person that was born on this world, every great sage that was born with these attitudes. Who were able to practice these attitudes. So he talks about how it is principles, these 15 interesting attitudes that he says that all of us are born with, then you will figure out that you are going to dispel the darkness there and the ignorance that possibly is plaguing each one of us. He goes on to talk about how you can dispel this ignorance. So Srini, can we pick up verse number 11? Yeah.
तेषामेवानुकम्पार्थम् अहमज्ञानजन्तमः नाशयाम्यत्मभावस्थः ज्ञानदीपेन भास्वता।
उन भक्ति करने के लिए उनके अंतःकरण में स्थित होकर अज्ञान जनित अंधकार को प्रकाश में ज्ञान के दीपक द्वारा नष्ट करता हूँ।
Fantastic. Just retain the slide there. So he is now talking to us saying that, look, I dwell in your heart. And this ignorance, what is this ignorance all about? This ignorance that happens because you kind of lose path and forget those 15 attributes that. So what I do is that I light the lamp of knowledge and help you rediscover for yourself these 15 beautiful insights that you have been born. And this is the Arjuna, and this is what he is saying that, look, destroy darkness. If you recall in one of the mentions, take the sword and cut the bonds of it. Now he's giving us another beautiful insight, and he says, destroy this darkness that is born of ignorance. What is it that is of these 50 attributes that are there within you? And what are those attributes? He's talking wisdom, he's talking in terms of being equal, equanimity, sama sukham dukham. He's talking in terms of ahimsa, in terms of this, all of this is there within. So I who recite that lamp, I allow that lamp to be lit. Because if you are going to allow that lamp to be lit within you, then obviously that lamp is going to destroy those darknesses that are born out of ignorance. And I think this is a very important point in this particular. If you remember, we talked about this chapter about the divine manifestations of Krishna, the divine manifestations of the inner self. That 15 qualities that are there within us. Are we ready to actually light that lamp of knowledge, of wisdom? And then again, he says, where do you get that knowledge? Through bhakti, through devotion, through focus, through practice. Practice this, lamp can be lit. There is no doubt about the fact that this situation that you are in, the fact that you may be ignorant of what you have, is something that you can actually dispel. And then he does something very interesting from here onwards. Okay, Arjuna actually changes the way he starts talking to Krishna from now onwards. Okay, and in verse 12 and onward, he something very interesting. He tells Krishna, do me a favor. After 9 chapters of listening to Krishna, which all the cobwebs of his mind have been removed, he starts praising Krishna. And he says, oh Krishna, help me. I acknowledge that all is the supreme truth. Whatever you're telling me, Krishna, is perhaps the supreme truth. But please tell me, how can I constantly everywhere? Is it possible for me to be completely aware of your presence in the world? How can I do this, O Krishna? Whatever you're saying is something that I accept, but how do I actually figure this out? I acknowledge that you're the supreme truth. I acknowledge that you're the supreme being. But in what way, O Krishna, can I, through Arjuna again, as in all of us, figure this out? Okay? And Krishna has Arjuna has a very interesting Krishna, and we'll put up that question, verse number 18, and you can see the change in language that he is talking to.
विस्तरेणात्मनो योगम् विभूतिं च जनार्दन भूयः कथय तृप्तिर्हि शृण्वतो नास्ति मे मृतम्.
There is a complete transformation now. Somebody asked me, why did it take so long? Well, this is the conditioning. If you want to change the condition of self, if you want to change the conditioning of someone that you love, somebody that you it takes time. It is not going to happen overnight. And there Krishna is asking him this question. Oh Krishna, can you please explain to me all in detail your divine glories and manifestations? Because I can never tire of hearing this. And what a change from where he was at one point of time. And what has happened in 10 chapters. After 9 chapters, that Arjuna reaches the stage when he starts talking to Krishna and says, Krishna, can you help me? So we are seeing a complete transformation in that. The finest warrior in the world who got into this entire issue of darkness and said, I will not fight, because of some very, very interesting inputs that he got from a whole host of people before the war, saying, how can you kill your own relatives? How can you kill your own self? Isn't that a sin? And now we are seeing a complete transformation. In many ways, even for us, this is a very interesting point in the entire Bhagavad Gita. That by now, if you have created for yourself that spirit of bhakti and devotion about Krishna, about yourself, about the God that is residing within each one of us, that this is somebody who, who's there for us to explore. This is what is going to happen. So, if you joyously adopt and look at his language here, I can never tire of hearing about Krishna. So the important thing is this. If you recall, Krishna also, gets into this trap. He kind of chides Arjuna in chapter 2 and he says, what is this lowly weakness? What is this unmanliness? Come on, what are you doing? And when we want somebody to transform themselves, we need to make that into a path of joy. Because if you are not going to enjoy this new path, if you're not going to enjoy this change, if you're not going to accept this change willingly, then there is just no way that you are ready to go through that process of change. So all of us who are working with people, all of us who are working with our kids, or whether it is with our elders or with neighbors, with strangers, with whoever, I think this is a very, very important point to us. That it takes time for people to reach this particular point where they start joyously accepting that there is a change that can happen to me. And this is so beautifully reflected from verse 12 to verse 18, from, when Arjuna starts talking to Krishna and he says, Krishna, he ends it at verse 18, those 6 verses, he starts by saying that, look, how I acknowledge that you're great. I acknowledge your greatness. I think you're a fantastic person. You're the supreme truth. But now tell me more, because I can't ever tire of hearing your divine manifestations and about how I can rediscover who I am and what I am. And therefore now, finally, Sri Krishna is aware of the fact that Arjuna is ready. Okay? Srini, can we pick up verse number 20, please? Yeah.
And Rama, I'm playing continuously from here.
No, we'll just do 20 first, and then from 21 we'll play it.
Ahamaatma gudakesha sarvabhutashayassithah ahamadishya madhyancha bhutanamanta evacha.
So he very clearly again reiterates this point that I reside in your heart. If you recall, we made this whole point. Somebody, I think we examined this whole thing. Should you listen to your mind? Should you listen to your heart? And he's very clearly sending this message. That's why I said earlier, make your mind a slave of your heart. Why? Because in the heart is your higher purpose. In your heart is your higher self. So he's very clearly telling us this, that look, I am seated in the heart. I am the beginning, I am the middle, I am the end of all beings. Don't try and resist me. Okay? So he makes this very, very interesting point, saying that I am there. There is no end to finding inspiration from Krishna. Okay? Wherever one looks, you can see him. Wherever one, you can actually hear the manifestations of Krishna. So if you're ready for this, I think we are now ready to move into listening to the beauty of Krishna. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to, in just a minute, I'm going to request Srini, I'd like you all to kind of close your eyes and hear of the divine manifestations of Krishna. There are about 17 or 18 verses that we will play continuously for you. It's a continuous play, but you will actually you will be transported. So actually, try and meditate. So what he is saying is that, look at my divine manifestations. If you remember, he talked about the physical manifestations, that I am the smell of the earth, I am the taste of water. And now he goes on to take this whole thing into a different plane. And believe me, we will be transported when we listen to him. And we will try and understand what is each meaning of what he is saying and how is it relevant to each one of us. Srini, if you can just play that on a continuous loop from 21 to 38 or 39, okay? That would be great, because then we can come back and we can examine each one of those verses.
Adityanamaham Vishnuh Jyotisham Raviramshumam Maritirmarudamasmi Nakshatranamaham Shashi
Sorry, Srini, can you show us Swami Brahmananda's
Vedosmi
do the slide share?
Devanamasmi Vasavaha Indriyanam Manasyasmi Bhutanamasmi Chetana Rudranam Shankarasyasmi Vittesho Yaksharakshasa Vasonam Pavakasyasmi Merushikharinamaham Purodhasancha Mukhyam Maham Vidhi Partha Brihaspatiim Senaninamaham Skandaha Sarasahamasmi Sagaraha Maharshinam Bhruguraham Giramasmaikamaksharam Yajnanam Japayajñosmi Stavaranam Himalayaha Svattas Sarvavrikshanam Evarshenam Cha Naradaha Gandharvanam Chitrarataha Siddhanam Kapilo Munihi Uccai Shravatamasvanam Viddhimam Amrutottamam Airavatang Gajendranam Naranam Cha Naradhipam Ayudhanamaham Vajram Dhenunam Kamaduk Prajanashasmi Kandarpaha Sarpanamasmi Vasukihi Anantaschasmi Naganam Varuno Yadasamaham Pitrunamaryama Chasmi Yamasam Yamatamaham Prahladashasmi Daityanam Kalakalayatamaham Mriganancha Mrigendroham Vainakeyascha Pakshinam Avanapavatamasmi Ramashastra-bhritamaham Jashanam Makarasyasmi Srotasamasmi Jahnavi Sarganamadirantasya Madhyanchaivahamarjuna Adhyatma Vidya Vidyanam वादः प्रवदतामहम् अक्षराणाम् अकारोऽस्मि द्वन्द्वः सामासिकस्य च अहमेवाक्षयः कालः धाताहं विश्वतो मुखः मृत्युः सर्वहरश्चाहम् उद्भवश्च भविष्यताम् कीर्तिश्रेवश्च नारीणाम् स्मृतिर्मेधा धृतिः क्षमा तत्साम तथा साम्नाम् गायत्री छन्दसामहम् मासानां मार्गशीर्षोऽहम् ऋतूनां कुसुमाकरः यूतं चलयतामस्मि तेजस्तेजस्विनामहम् जयोऽस्मि व्यवसायोऽस्मि सत्त्वं सत्त्ववतामहम् कृष्णीनां वासुदेवोऽस्मि पाण्डवानां धनञ्जयः मुनीनामप्यहं व्यासः कवीनाम् उशना कविः दण्डोदमयतामस्मि नीतिरस्मि जिगीषताम् मौनं चैवास्मि गुह्यानाम् ज्ञानं ज्ञानवतामहम् यच्चापि सर्वभूतानां बीजं तदहमर्जुन न तदस्ति विना यत् स्यात् मया भूतं चराचरम्
Thank you, Shani. You can stop there.
सोऽस्ति मम दिव्यान्.
All right. So if we go back, I'm glad that you all heard this. So from verse 21 to 38, 39, he talks about the various manifestations of the Lord, and each of these has a deeper meaning. And what I'd like to do is that I'd like to go beyond just the of what he's saying. So he says, of the Adityas, I am Vishnu. And he starts off with that, saying that of the Adityas, I am Vishnu. Who is Vishnu? Vishnu is the all-pervading. He is everywhere in us. He says, among the lights, I am the radiant sun. What is the sun? The sun is one who inspires and gives freely without holding back. Among the Maruts, I am Marichi. Among the stars, I am the moon. And it's a very interesting point. If you remember, the moon is not permanent. The moon waxes and wanes. And therefore teaches a very important lesson to us, saying that there is nothing in this world that is permanent. We can't ever think that, this is permanent and this is going to be there all the time in my life. And that's what the moon teaches us. Then he goes on to say that among the Vedas, I am the Samaveda, which is the repository of wisdom. He says, among the gods, I am Indra, who's the one who controls all the gods. He says, among the organs, I am the mind. And it is the mind that gives the impulse to the other senses. He says, amongst the beings, I'm consciousness, I'm Chetana. Keeping this Chetana in mind, you can be on track with your Svadharma. And then he goes on to tell us something else. He says, among the Rudras, I'm Shankara. Shankara is the one who is the peace giver. Among the Yakshas, I'm Kubera, the Lord of Wealth. Among the Vasus, I'm the fire, energy personified. Among the mountains, I am Meru, unflinching, steady. Among the priests, I am Brihaspati, the chief guru. Among leaders, I am Skanda or Subramanya, the leader of the God's army who's fearless. Among the reservoirs, I am the ocean. I am completely vast, I am boundless. Amongst the sages, I am Brigu, I am the wise one. Among the words, I am Om, the primary, the purifying word Om. Among the sacrifices, I am Japa, the repetition of the recitation of the mantra. Among the mountains, I am Himalaya, the immovable. Among the trees, I am Ashwatha, the fig tree. Later on in the next chapter, we'll talk about the Ashwatha tree. The people, who's the bestower of fruits. Among the divine sages, I am Narada. Who is Narada? He is the epitome of devotion to the Lord. Among Gandharvas, I am Chitrata, who's the guru of musicians. Among the perfect souls, I am Kapila, the wise. Among horses, I am Ucharisvas, the horse that is born out of churning of wisdom. Among the elephants, I am Airavata, who is also born out of the churning of the nectar. And among men, I am the king, the ruler. Among weapons, I am Vajra. What is Vajra? The thunderbolt, the all-powerful energy that is there within us. Among cows, I am Kamadhenu, the provider. Among the progeny, I am Kama, the god of love. Among snakes, I am Vasuki. Among cobras, I am Ananta, the non-poisonous snake. Among the water beings, I am Varuna, the one who gives us rain and who helps us with subsistence and existence. Among the ancestors, among the regulators, I am Yama, the god of death. And therefore, he keeps on describing the many, many different manifestations of his that, he talks about. He says, amongst the demons, I am Prahlada, the pure one. Among those who count, I am Kala, time. I keep track of it all. Among the beasts, I am the lion, the majestic one. Among the birds, I am Garuda, the companion of the Lord. Among purifying forces, I am the wind who's detached. Among the weapon holders, I am Rama, or Parashurama, the upholder of truth. Among the rivers, I am the Ganga, the purifying Ganga. And he goes on to describe the very, very many different, beautiful manifestations. And each of these manifestations that Krishna keeps describing to us has a much, much deeper meaning. He says, among created beings, I am the beginning, the middle, and the end. Among sciences, I am the knowledge of the soul. Among expressions, I am speech. Remember, this is very important because what you say can hurt someone very badly and you can never take it back. It also resonates. It's the voice of reason. Amongst the letters, I'm the first letter A. Amongst the compounds, I'm Dvanda, the combination. I'm imperishable time. And amongst the people that desire a fruit, I dispense that fruit for their actions. Among the relievers, I'm death. Among those who create, I'm the future. I create prosperity. He says something very interesting. He says among women, he has some very interesting thoughts that he says. He says, I'm Kirti, fame. I'm Shri, respect. I'm Smriti, recollection. I'm Medha, intellect. I'm Dhriti, consistency or constancy. I'm Kshama, forgiveness. These are all the beautiful qualities of a woman that I am in. Among the Vedic lyrics, I'm the Braj Sama. Among the meters, I'm Gayatri, the 24 syllables. Among the months, I'm November. Among the seasons, I'm spring, where everything regenerates. So look at the kind of beautiful stuff that he says. But he also goes on to say that, look, amongst the deceitful, I'm gambling. I'm the light, I'm the Tejas, I'm the victory. Among the Vrishnis, I'm Vasudeva, his own father. And then he says, amongst the Pandavas, I'm Dhananjaya, which is Arjuna, his friend. And he says, among the sages, I'm Vedavyasa, the person who wrote the Mahabharata. Among the seers, I'm the poet, Shukracharya, Usana, who's another form of Shukracharya. Among those who control, I'm punishment. Among those who seek victory, I'm diplomacy. Among the secrets, I'm silence. And most important, amongst the wise, I'm wisdom. So these are the beautiful manifestations that Krishna tells us, that this is all me. So anything that you see, anything, earlier he said that these are the qualities that we are all born with. And now he is going on to share with us and says, anywhere that you see, I am there. It is me. In whatever way you want to perceive me, you can start perceiving me in every single manifestation of mine. And look, and all these wonderful verses that he shares with us, all these wonderful attributes and thoughts that he shares with us. And then he ends it with verse number 40, and he says, Srini, verse number 40, please.
नान्तोऽस्ति मम दिव्यानां विभूतीनां परन्तप एष तूद्देशतः प्रोक्तः विभूतेर्विस्तरो मया.
Anurag?
हे परतप अर्जुन, हे परम तप अर्जुन, मेरी दिव्य विभूतियों का अंत नहीं है, मैंने तुम्हारे सामने अपनी विभूतियों का जो विस्तार कहा है, यह तो केवल संक्षेप से कहा है।
You just hold the slide, Shri. So what is he saying? You remember I kept telling you that he keeps addressing him in different ways. Parantapa is a person who conquers his enemies. And this is a very interesting word that he uses for Arjuna here. Where are Arjuna's enemies? The biggest enemy in Arjuna right now is his ignorance. It is there in his mind. And he says, "O conqueror of enemies," which means, "O conqueror of the enemies of your mind, what I'm telling you is just a mere sample of my greatness, of my infinite glories. So if you need any reinforcement or way to look for me, anywhere that you look, you will find me. Anywhere that you look, whether you're looking at it in the best of horses, whether you're looking at it in the best of elephants, whether you're looking at it in the best of rivers, everywhere it is me. But this is just a small part of me that you're looking at." And I think this is a very, very important lesson to all of us, saying, look and recognize that everywhere, in whatever we do, in wherever we look, there is this Krishna that is there. And I think there are two important lessons for all of us here. The first is, you look out and you will see his manifestations, you will see his glory. And therefore, one more point. Don't ever try and undersell the greatness that is there in somebody else. And in everyone, amongst the sages, he says, "I'm Narada, the best of them. Amongst the gods, I'm Indra." So therefore, what he is trying to say is that, look, if you allow your higher self to reach a higher state of life, then that is where I am. That is where the Lord is. And that is where you can actually see me. And therefore he says, there is no end to my manifestations, believe me. I am the best amongst the best. But it is these people who have allowed that to surface and come to the top. He says, "I am Garuda, the finest of the birds." But if we allow our inner self to rise, then obviously it is these manifestations that is possible. So we end this chapter by looking at verse number 41.
यद्यद्विभूतिमत्सत्त्वम् श्रीमदूर्जितमेव वा तत्तदेवावगच्छत्वम् मम तेजोंशसम्भवम्।
Right?
जो ऐश्वर्य युक्त, शोभा युक्त और बल युक्त प्राणी तथा वस्तु हैं, उसको तुम मेरे ही तेज अर्थात योग के अंश से उत्पन्न हुई समझो।
Hold this slide, Shini. So, wherever you can see any manifestation, so what he's talking of beautiful is truth. Wherever you see truth, wherever you see glory, wherever you see respect, wherever you see propriety, all of these are only a small part of me. They originate from me because I am somebody who's actually there in all of them. And he concludes this entire chapter by saying that, look, don't be, if you should know one important point, that everything in this universe has been manifested from my glory. And it is just a small part. So we're clearly being shown that, look, if you were to practice that bhakti and that devotion, then you will allow these manifestations to rise within yourself and reach that level of Krishna. It is possible for each one of us to do so, but it is very important that we allow us to do that. So he concludes this entire saying that these don't mean anything. You should know that of all the universe is just manifested by a small portion of me. And therefore, practice that bhakti, practice that devotion, trust in yourself. Make sure, so he finally says that wherever you see truth, wherever you see respect, wherever you see propriety, wherever you see, glory, all of these are things that manifest from me. Sometime back, we talked about this. We said that, look, there is an action and there is an outcome. And the outcome will have certain manifestations. So this stanza, he is reminding us that, look, if those manifestations are there, whether it is beauty, truth, glory, power, whatever, remember those manifestations are also mine. So don't get attached. Don't allow that arrogance to come in. And don't allow that arrogance to cloud you. Don't let that ignorance cloud you in terms of the divine manifestations that are actually part of me. So very quick recap of this entire paragraph, chapter. He talks about the divine manifestations. He starts off by telling that, look, because I desire your welfare, I'm going to tell you about this. Because I desire your welfare. And he says, even the gods and the sages don't know my beginning. And then he talks about those 15 different attributes or qualities or attitudes that are inherent to everyone, because it is he who has made sure that every human being who's born is born with those divine qualities, those 15 divine qualities that he talks about. And then he talks about the fact that, look, you can destroy this ignorance, which is born out of darkness, if only you were to light that lamp of wisdom within your heart, which is where I reside. And then he talks about all those beautiful manifestations of his, that I am the best that you can find in any creature on this earth, in anything that you find, whether movable, immovable, whether it is an animal, whether it is humankind, you will find that I am actually there. And his exhortation to all of us is this, that have that faith, have that bhakti, have that devotion, and allow your own inner self, allow the God within you to rise and manifest itself. Okay? And don't allow this ignorance of your own true self to be clouded and to be put down. And this is his great message to all of us. Om Tat Sat. We are now open to any observations, any thoughts, any reactions, any questions. We can take them from here.
Yeah, Ram, this is Parag here. Hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Unfortunately, I could not attend sessions because my son was in middle of exams. So I had to do some studies with him. Just it's a little. I won't say out of the content question, but something that is so called related to what you've just said. Regarding Krishna being all pervading, and the way you beautifully described about who he is. And he says it to Arjun that it's me who's just doing everything. Now, just to have a little recap of the Mahabharata, when he goes to Karna and tells him that you don't know who you are, but I know who you are, where Karna asks him, just tell me who I am, because this is a question that has been there all throughout my mind. Do you think that had he said all of this to Arjuna, to Karna, what he mentioned and narrated to Arjuna, before the war, this particular war would have been avoided? Because from what I have read and I have known of Mahabharata a little, Duryodhan was primarily heavily reliant on Karna as far as the war was concerned.
Parag, your guess is as good as mine, yeah. I really don't know. I mean, you see, the point is this, that sometime back, I think, you can keep talking about the possibilities and the ifs and the buts and, the but it didn't happen, no, Parag. So let's talk about the now,
Right.
rather than worry about what has happened in the past.
Okay. No, the reason why I'm asking is because Krishna was well aware of that he is also Pandava, right?
Yes, but then I think by that time it was too late. Kunti reveals to Kunti reveals to Karna, and at that point of time, it's too late. I think, his karma was way too entrenched with Duryodhana and his welfare. So anyway, Parag, I mean, these are all very interesting questions that can be.
You take it back, Ram, you take it back to Karn's Svadharma. What was his explanation that he gave Kunti? So,
See, the point really is this, that, I mean, quite honestly, these are interesting debates that one can have. Should he have done that? Could he have done that? Could he have done this? Could he have done that? But I think the point really is that my only request to all of you is this, that while that is a very interesting inquiry, okay, and it's a very valid inquiry and it's a very interesting inquiry, I still believe that let's live in the now. Try and say that, look, okay, what are the teachings that are here, and how can I apply it to my life at this point of time? And remember one thing very important, Parag. He also says something in the last chapter, that howsoever wicked a person is, howsoever fallen a person is, howsoever a person has strayed from the path, if that person were to approach me with devotion, then there is a chance that he could course correct. Right? So to answer your question,
Right.
if you would have revealed it to Karna, maybe Karna could have done some course corrections. Maybe there would have been a different path in the Mahabharata. But it's a debate. It's just a nice, interesting debate that can be done, but doesn't really help us to live in the now. And you're right, Rahul. I mean,
All right. Okay.
Also Karna's Svadharma. I mean, the fact that Duryodhana picked up Karna from nowhere, gave him a lot of respect, called him Angaraj, gave him a small principality, and took care of him. So you're right. I mean, his Svadharma also, whatever, like even when he gets to know that he's a Pandava, says, my Svadharma is to continue to do what I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm not going to deviate from that, whether it is, and it's okay.
Right. Thanks, Ram.
That's a great question. Yeah. Any other observations? Any other thoughts? I can see that all of you are deeply moved by the manifestations of Krishna.
Ram, only an observation that you brought it out so brilliantly, that the way Krishna is addressing Arjuna or vice versa, actually, in some sense, sets a context or brings out the beauty of the conversation. It also brings that when we are talking to ourselves or when we are talking to somebody, we perhaps have to emphasize on that a little more so that that particular aspect comes out more strongly. And I think this is a learning that I'm taking with me from today's session as a coach, that that is something that we need to tap into, because at that point the people are perhaps raw and they're ready to take it. That's a very beautiful thing you brought it out, Ram. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You see, just to add to that, there is this higher self within each one of us. Okay, and therefore, very, very interestingly, when you actually, if ever you guys have the time, please go back and read those, verses 20 to 38, 39. Read it again, okay, and try and see if you can get a nice interpretation. But every one of them, whenever he talks of he doesn't say, I'm a priest. He doesn't say, I'm Cobra. He doesn't say, I am the snake. He doesn't say, I'm a horse. He deliberately pitches it to be the highest in that class. So he says, I'm Brihaspati, I'm Shukracharya, I'm, Airavata, I'm the Himalayas, I am the mighty Meru, which is, in that class that I am in, I am the highest. So in a manner of speaking, know that you have it within you to get to that particular level. There is quite nothing that you can't achieve in your life. Okay? Because he starts off by saying, I have given you all those 15 attributes. And if you use those attributes properly, then there is no doubt in Krishna's mind that each one of us can also aim to reach that particular level of excellence that we're talking about. You know? So everywhere that he talks about, he says, I'm Kapila. Kapila is the wise man. I mean, he's the, from him actually came this entire, say all the sages, the story goes. So in each one of these is a beautiful nugget that is waiting to be discovered. I mean, you can read that saying, I'm Brigu, I'm Kapila, I'm Om, I'm Japa. Okay? But if you go into the deeper meaning of each of these, then you will realize that what he is trying to pitch to all of us is that, hey, listen, yeah, I have given you all these lovely qualities. Now, don't get ignorant of those qualities, or don't be ignorant of those qualities. Be conscious of these qualities. And if you use these qualities, that's why he says, light that lamp of wisdom in your heart. If you do, then you can actually start figuring out how to reach the best in your class. Now, whichever is the class that you choose. And, he gives us so many beautiful examples saying that, amongst the rivers, I am the Ganges, the most holy Ganges. So there is no doubt that we can reach the best that we want to reach in our class, in whatever is our attempt. Whatever you're doing, you can be the best that you want in that. That is something that we can strive for. That is something that is waiting for us to be tapped. I think that is the beauty of this particular chapter.
So Ram, when you talk about those 15 attributes,
Yes.
which are available, which is there in all of us.
Yes.
How does one identify the level of attributes that you have within you? So, okay, intellect everybody knows, but
Yeah.
even within the level of intellect or knowledge or whatever, how do you sit down and say, okay, this is where I am and this is where I need to reach?
So everybody, you're absolutely right. So when he talks about intellect, buddhi, okay, that, yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, everybody has this innate buddhi, innate intelligence, innate intellect is there, right? But then what we did today, we said, okay, can we turn that around and say, can this become the power of discrimination? So how do you discriminate between what is enabling and what is not enabling? What is continuing to help you move to your Svadharma and what is not helping you to move to your Svadharma? So can we start looking at it and saying, how do you get that power of discrimination working within you? Okay, it's not just the intelligence, but what we've actually explored today is to say, okay, how do we take it into an area which is more actionable for us? Okay, so I mean, if you look at all these psychometric tests that are done, okay, what do these psychometric tests done? I mean, if you remember the profiling tests that are done, Rahul, I mean, you've got those 4 major attributes and 4 sub attributes, and therefore on those 16 they measure you. So what are they trying to measure us? They're trying to measure how are you faring on this particular attribute? Okay, whatever is the attribute that you've got. So if you can look at intelligence and say, is it the power of discrimination? Okay. And when you look at Jnanam, he says, look, is it the knowledge and the wisdom that you have to light that lamp of wisdom within you? Okay. So each of these things that he is talking about, he says, look, contentment. Okay. So can you actually do an assessment for yourself and figure out how are you doing? Now, can you practice all 15? I don't think so. I don't think so. It's not possible. But can we actually sit and figure out from those 15, 2 or 3 that make the most amount of sense to us in what we are doing on the path of our Svadharma? And can we start practicing those now? Because I keep telling people that if you take 2 or 3 that make the most amount of sense to you, or what you are most comfortable with, or what your conditioning is most comfortable, giving you comfort, and then you start practicing that, and you will slowly but surely start becoming the kind of person that you want. So I certainly don't believe that you should take all 15 and try and figure out how to practice those 15. Pick 2, pick 3, pick 4. Okay? Don't pick all 15. It's not going to be easy. But even if you can do 2, even if you can do 3, you're doing great. Because remember one thing, I keep telling people this. One great attitude, like what he talks about, and a little later, actually, we're going to get into those attitudes a little more seriously. Just have a little bit of patience. I think it happens in chapter 13 or chapter 14. Chapter 13, if I'm not wrong, when he actually gets more detailed into these attitudes, each of these attitudes, and he does it. Okay? Chapter 13, if I'm not wrong. Okay? And then the whole point is this. If you pick one great attitude, Rahul, that great attitude will lead to multiple great behaviors. So if supposing, for instance, you were to say, okay, let me pick perseverance as an attitude. And I want, he keeps talking of perseverance, one-pointedness, focus, etc. Supposing we were to pick perseverance and say, I want to start practicing perseverance on a day-to-day basis. Okay? Now look what perseverance will lead you to. Look at the kind of behavior that will happen, Rahul. One, it will lead to the fact that you will never give up. Okay? 2, you will get into great planning. Because you will start planning your day-to-day activities, whatever you want to achieve. It will give you the confidence to keep going at it. Okay? It will give you the ability to communicate what is your plan to the whole world and say, look, I am not going to give up on this. So like that, no, Rahul, you pick 2 or 3 and you've got a great recipe for success.
Great. Thanks, Ram.
Any other observations? Any other thoughts? Any other... anything else that anybody would like to... So I do hope that, you are... I think we've sent that link that we're using every day. For Swami Brahmananda's link, I think we put it on the group. What you could do also is that if you get the time, maybe from today onwards, tomorrow we're going to be doing chapter 11. Chapter 11 is another beautiful chapter. What I would really like you to do is that I'd like you to listen to chapter 11. If there is an explanation somewhere, great. If you have the time, listen to it. Even if you can't read it, because some of us find it difficult to read Sanskrit. But go to that site. There is this Bhagavad Gita on that site. Check it out, read it. But I would certainly like you to read up chapter 11 before we get to it tomorrow morning. Primarily because tomorrow is the ultimate experience for Arjuna. It is the Vishwarupa Darshanam that Krishna gives to Arjuna. And because Arjuna says, all this is great, Krishna. I mean, you're telling me that you're Brigu and you're this and you're that, and you're the Ganga. You're all over. You're the Om. But I'm still not satisfied. I want to see you. Can you show me who you are? I mean, all this is great. I think you're the greatest thing on earth. And Krishna actually reveals to Arjuna and to Sanjaya the Vishwarupa of the Lord. So if you can do that reading today, or if you can do that listening today, that would be great, because that would then set a great tone for us for tomorrow, where we can see the divine manifestations of the Lord. Will you just copy paste that link on the chat box, Shani, so that people can...
Yeah, I'll do that.
so that they can... if they're not there on that particular group, then you can copy that, or you can click on that, and then you can it will automatically open for you. And It's called the Gita Super Site. It's been developed by IIT Kanpur, and it's absolutely divine. Srini is pointing you at sloka number 41, but you can just go navigate it there and you'll find.
Srini, can you send it on the WhatsApp, please?
Yes.
Yes, I'll do that as well.
Thank you.
Maybe you can just copy paste the chapter 11 itself, Srini. It will become easier to navigate. Right. Any other thing? Any other observations? Any other thoughts? Anything that you'd like to share?
I think Ram, today's lecture was definitely mesmerizing. It's just taken me in a trance, I feel.
Wonderful. I'm so glad. You actually, thanks to Swami Brahmanandaji and myself today, describing his very many manifestations.
हमें ये गीता सुन के कई चीजें सीखने को मिल रही हैं राम। कल एक बात बताई थी कि डू ऑडिट डेली, कि मुझे कितनी बार गुस्सा आया, कितनी बार मैं एंग्शियस हुआ, और आज हमें एटीट्यूड्स के बारे में मिला है कि वी शुड पिक एटीट्यूड एंड वी शुड वर्क अपॉन इट टू मेक आवर लाइफ बेटर, इनर पीस। सो कल कितने लोगों ने इनर ऑडिट किया अपना? कितनों ने नोट बनाया? कि मेरे ख्याल से भूल गए होंगे सब, बट आई थिंक वी शुड, मैं भी भूल गया था। पर हमें थोड़ा सा समय देना चाहिए, चाहे हम इस डिस्कोर्स के बाद दें या शाम को दें, जो मी टाइम अपना राम ने बताया था, हमें जो हमने पढ़ा है अभी तक या जाना है, सुना है, समझा है, वी शुड वर्क ऑन इट, एंड आई एम श्योर कि ये हम लोगों के, हमारे लिए जरूरी भी है। अभी मैं आज सुबह सुबह जब आके मैंने अपनी नोटबुक खोली और मैं पढ़ रहा था, तो देन आई रियलाइज कि हाँ, आई मिस्ड इट। तो मैंने कल मेरे जो मेरे साथ मूवमेंट्स आए थे उनके बारे में मैंने सोचा कि हाँ, मैंने कब कब कितनी बार क्या क्या मेरे साथ हुआ। तो मुझे लगा सब चीज़ों को मैं अवॉइड कर सकता, पर मैं बिकॉज आई वॉज नॉट अवेयर, तो मैं उसको अवॉइड नहीं कर पाया। वी शुड डेफिनेटली, दिस इज माई सजेशन कि माइंडफुलनेस, यस। थैंक यू राम। ये गीता मुझे मेरे लिए एकदम नया अनुभव, इच्छा बहुत थी जानने की, बट अब जो जैसे जैसे हम आगे बढ़ते जा रहे हैं, एक अलग ही मोड और अलग ही दुनिया में लगता है मैं जा रहा हूँ।
More importantly, I think I'm grateful to all of you for giving me this chance to share. I think I'm being very humbled by this opportunity. It's an interesting, journey for me. Doing these notes, to think about it, and, to get my thoughts into order, and I'm grateful to all of you. So with that, I think let's conclude this chapter today with your permission, everybody. We do that?
Yes.
Sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ram.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ram, Srini,
Thank you, Ram.
Anurag,
Srini.
Swati.
Swati, you actually put me to sleep in that meditation today.
Good. I think that's the best thing to do.
Jai Shri Krishna. Thank you.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Bye.